Senator Natale.
Thank you, Mr President. My question is to the Minister representing the Minister for Health. I refer to the damning report by the Australian National Audit Office into the 5th Community Pharmacy Agreement. The Minister for Health has said, to her credit, that answers are needed into, and I quote, serious questions about a lack of transparency as well as maladministration relating to the $15 billion 5th Community Pharmacy Agreement. Given the alarming finding that the Department of Health did not keep records of negotiations with the Guild, even though $15 billion of taxpayer funds was at stake, and that there's no mechanism to measure the effectiveness of services delivered under the agreement, will the government now commit to holding a full public inquiry into the 5th Community Pharmacy Agreement?
The Assistant Minister for Health representing the Minister for Health, Senator Nash.
Thank you very much, Mr President. Well, in relation to the last part of that very long question, that would be a matter for the Senior Minister. But what I can indicate to the chamber, Mr President, is the report's made a number of recommendations, the report that the senator refers to, on how the future administration and negotiation of the agreement could be improved. My understanding is that the department has accepted all the recommendations, and my understanding is also that the department has already implemented a new recording framework to capture key decisions throughout the anticipated negotiations, and risk and probity plans have been put in place that will address concerns raised in the report, reviewed and modified the financial forecasting system so that cost impacts to government and patients can be separately reported, and commenced planning for new performance and financial reporting to improve the transparency of future agreements, such as future reporting on the major cost components of pharmacy remuneration. The senator would well understand that currently those negotiations for the 6th pharmacy agreement are underway, and the minister is ensuring that she is consulting widely to ensure that we indeed get the best outcome for all concerned.
Thank you, Minister. A supplementary question, Senator Natale.
Thank you. Minister, given that the department cannot account for the many flaws, failings and administrative mismanagement in the $15 billion Community Pharmacy Agreement, will the government agree to pause the signing of the 6th Community Pharmacy Agreement until the mismanagement of the current agreement is independently investigated?
Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr President. Well, that would be a matter for the minister to consider, but I do understand that she has asked the department to take into account the findings of the ANAO, as well as the findings of evaluation processes undertaken as part of the 5th CPA in these consultation processes, and the subsequent policy and program development. I think it's very obvious that the minister has taken into account the findings from the ANAO. Indeed, as I've outlined in my earlier answer, those things already that have been undertaken by the department, and she will continue to progress the negotiations for the 6th CPA.
Senator Natale, a final supplementary question.
Thank you. Minister, given that the Department of Health reallocated funds without prior ministerial approval and their inability to account for money given as grants to the Pharmacy Guild, including the unexplained transfer of $277 million to the Guild, how can the public have any confidence in the existing community pharmacy agreement and any future agreements until this agreement is formally investigated?
Minister.
Thank you, Mr President. Well, those out in the community can certainly have confidence in what the government's doing in relation to these negotiations.
On my left.
And while there is some interjection from the other side, Mr President, I can say that those out in the community have far more confidence in this government than they did under the previous government when it comes to health outcomes. And certainly they can take confidence, Mr President, in the wide-ranging consultations that the minister is undertaking with a number of stakeholders to ensure that the outcome is balanced and responsible, and that we do ensure we get those best outcomes right across the sector. Indeed, as I've indicated in my previous answers, the minister has very well taken into account the ANAO report. I've indeed, as I said, outlined the undertakings already being done by the department, and that clearly the minister is considering this issue very carefully.